everyone. My name is Serafino. I have the Matilda Swanson Gallery located in Clarksburg, Ontario. Welcome to In Conversation with our guest today. It is the one, the only Diane Lingenfelter.
Hi, Sarah.
I know.
Happy to be here. I was brought up in, oh God, are you bored? Oh, thanks a lot. Vivaldi was brought up in
Yeah.
Northern Ontario, Curtin Lake. Um, I'm an only child, lived with my mom and dad, but in the next, it was a house that had three apartments, which my grandparents owned. And my grandfather and grandmother and one uncle lived in the other apartment. And so I saw a lot of them, and it was really great. My grandparents, my mother, were born in Finland, and my father was from, well, originally he was born in Hamilton and from an Irish background. I figure skated. I loved winter. I'm not so sure of it now. And my grandfather was wonderful. He made me little skis. He was a carpenter, and he did everything. And I still have the little skis, and we went cross country skiing. Um, there were always a lot of kids around, and because I was an only child, my parents were, oh yeah, sure, come all over. So I was used to having a lot of kids around and playing, and it was great. My both my my grandparents, my grandmother more, they were in the Lutheran church, but they put on plays, and she was always in that type of thing. And my mother as well, and my father, who is Anglican and then changed to United Church, um, was in a lot of plays and actually did poetry readings. And both my mom and dad were great dancers.
I think if you grow up north, you have no choice but to enjoy snow. We don't even think about it.
No, you don't. And I took figure skating for years, and it was great. And I think of, God, they're not going to school. It's only one. you know,
Yeah.
I do remember going to school, and it was 40 below.
Yeah. We used to walk to school 32 below.
Oh,
That was,
wow.
we didn't think about it. We didn't think twice about it. And
I
we
know.
enjoyed it. And
I know. How
when
hard
they say, "Oh, it's a snow day," it's a snow day, and I look out and there's no snow, I think, what would they do if we were up north? We never had snow
I
days.
know. I know.
It's
Really? No, we didn't.
no, unless it was 40 below up
Oh, yeah.
north during the winter
Yeah.
time. I know that you're from Kirkland Lake, but it always surprises me when I hear it or when I read it because you're a bit of an anomaly for Northern Ontario.
Probably I was into.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I was probably one of the strangest people from Northern Ontario, but and I think in the community, people thought I was a weirdo. And people are shocked to hear that I come from up north.
Right.
I wonder, I'm sure you probably get that as well because you are artistic, you're creative, you're cultured, you're
Yeah.
very metropolitan. Rather, you don't think you hail from the middle of the bush.
No, I know what you mean, but what is um, surprising to me is um, maybe because, and I think a lot of people from Kirkland Lake or small towns had relatives like I did in large cities. So you visited them every now and then. You didn't stay long or anything. Um,
Mm.
and I think maybe when you are from a small town, you go, oh, I got to keep up. Well,
Mm-hmm.
there's not much to keep up to when it comes right down to it.
That's very, very true. When people come to Clarksburg, they say, "Oh, Toronto's so far away. We're up north.
Mhm.
They call it the north." And I just have to laugh because
Right.
Clarksburg, Collingwood is not the north.
It's south, man.
Yeah, I remember going south to North Bay, and that was going south for me.
Okay, no, I know, me too. That's when Northern Ontario started
Yes.
at North Bay,
Yeah.
Oh,
What does it mean to talk art? Quote on talk art.
it can be, that's a tricky one in that I think if you put it within those parameters, it negates the whole idea of art. I think a lot of, not a lot, but some people, oh yes, art. I'm in touch with. I am sophisticated. I'm this. And I've known more people that are totally not in that realm that other people might think of, uh-oh, unsophisticated and know a hell of a lot more. I think there's a lot of pretension with that word, talk art. And having taught as well, you learn more from um, appreciating um, other viewpoints, and that can be as much talk art as talking art literate. I can name off artists or do that kind of thing, but that isn't really talking about art.
Say what these sessions are doing. We are talking art in the
Yeah.
correct sense.
Yeah.
In the yes, in the correct authentic sense. We're not, as you said, throwing artist names out there to seem sophisticated. It's not rehearsed. It's not schooled. We're not reading books to memorize and then to be able to take the quiz and pass the quiz.
Right. But there is a certain structure too that I wouldn't negate in what we might be discussing as art.
Mm-hmm.
It might be too easy to throw in every kind of feel good thing. Make it sound meaningful.
Yeah, I guess it's a fine line between pretentious and then authentic.
Yeah, it's really, really close to, and it's from one of my favorite movies, and it's a line by David St. Hubbins. There's a fine line between clever and stupid. You know the movie? Final Tap. But that is a great line.
It is, and it's appropriate.
Yeah, I know. So I used to sometimes at different art shows and Larry and I both roll around. And we don't do this all the time. I might have put that in. I didn't give David St. Hubbins credit, but I put, there's a fine line between clever and stupid, and kind of smugly walk out after finishing my wine.
How do you start a painting? What inspires you to start a painting?
Kind of an idea. Often, because I do like drawing, I'll do not a drawing that I will use on the painting, but just start drawing and then thinking about something. And it could be totally the opposite. And then looking outside. And then I make a mark on the canvas. At at one time, I used to put a color down, just a color, sometimes on the whole canvas, and then go from there. But I find that, especially if you've been painting a long time, is that you make a couple of marks and then you go, oh, that's really crappy. Even if you paint over it later, is that each mark and going forward, it'll inform you, hey, no, that doesn't look right there. Do this, do that, and go back and forth. Like if I ever went over a painting that I've done, oh, I don't know how I started that. but you know when it's right and when it's working and it all coheses.
What memorable responses have you had to your work?
Good or bad?
Both. The most memorable ones.
Okay, one was in our college, and I adored this teacher, a man who was actually a color teacher, and we had done. We were we went to Kensington Market and we did sketches and our interpretation or whatever, and it was fairly large painting, and I kept it covered, and then each week different people would show theirs. Anyways, put it up, and it was I think 2.5 by 4 feet vertical, and kind of very simplified. And this instructor said, "This painting excites me." That was wonderful. And then one of my Larry laughs at this when I tell him. And then one of the worst responses was in a book at a show I was in, "A brave attempt. Fuck you, lady." So those are two I remember. Diametrically opposed.
Yeah. Your work evokes it evokes emotion, or it evokes a response, whether it's a very positive one or a negative one. You know, it's
Yeah,
I don't see anything in between. I don't see people just
I
walking
know.
past it. My brother, who is a fan of art,
Mhm.
he's an engineer and he likes high realism. And you're one of my personal favorites. And so when he sees that and the contrast, and for him, he's like, I don't even know what that is. I don't get it. I don't understand what you're doing with that.
Right.
And I cannot process the high realism that he enjoys so much. People who love your work, they're gaga for it.
Oh,
and
thank
and
you.
and fellow artists as well.
Thank you. An after school program for kids that I taught at Blythewood Academy when it was somewhere else. Anyways, and they were grade 7 and 8. And I took them to the AGO. It was special term. Their parents are all well to do, so they're pretty sophisticated. Oh, that's great, and whatever. And they were all to draw pictures of a painting they liked. Anyway, oh, and somebody had donated hoarding boards from, you know, and which was really great. Like they're about 6 feet by 4 feet wide, and that. And so, oh, this would be great for the class. And I divvied them up so that there were 3 or 4 working on one painting. And one of the paintings was Colville's The Woman in the Bathtub. Of course, grade 7 or 8. Ooh, she's
Jane and
you know, but I wasn't saying anything, and they went ahead with it. And the following week came, and I went in, and I said, "Gee, where is that painting?" The janitor took it upon himself to become the censor and put it in the furnace room. I had to go and retrieve it. The principal had to talk to him and say, "No, no, it's all right." But I do love that.
oh wow, that's funny. That's really funny. I took art all throughout high school, and I used to get pretty good marks.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I didn't know what I was doing either. I would read the assignment and I would come up with something entirely different, and the teacher's remarks were always the same. You didn't follow the assignment at all, produce something completely different, but when she's marking everything accordingly, is it balanced? Is it this? Is it that? Right? The
Right.
technical parts, she had no choice but to check me. So it was all correct.
Good.
So she was really great that way.
Really, you're lucky. Yeah.
Yes, yes. When it came to the watercolor,
Hmm.
that I couldn't do. I tried a landscape, which is not my thing either. I'll paint a bottle, a vase,
Right.
people.
It's a shape. That's why.
Yes,
It's a definite shape. It's not, yeah.
yes, that gets me going. But to paint a landscape or to draw a tree or anything like that, that doesn't get me going. Even though I love it, I love nature.
Right.
I have no desire to paint it or to replicate it. So that's what the assignment was. And I thought, okay, if I because it's watercolor, this is so beyond me. There are so many rules with watercolor, how to do it, yada yada yada. So I followed the instructions the one time. So I brought it into class. I said, "Here, look," and she looked at me and said, "What the fuck is this?"
Oh, whoa. You're kidding.
She's like, "Just get rid of that and go home and do something proper."
Wow.
I'll never forget that.
Did you get in trouble?
No. What she was saying to me in her way was, "This is crap. Don't follow my instructions ever again. Go home and go do what you normally do and
Mm,
bring it back so I can mark it properly." Hmm.
wow. When I was going to OCA, and it was great, and I was in fine art. But the thing is, with the fine art program, and at the time anyway, there were all these older men that had this job forever, and God
Hmm.
damn it, they're going to keep it.
Hmm.
And it was all really pedestrian. No one took any chances. They showed at each other's living rooms, in my opinion. So that's why I went to experimental as well. They were actually artists, three of them, in Ab Isaac's gallery, which was a big deal then, and other ones that were, noted.
Hmm.
I just felt that's not right that somebody has this job and they're not giving any, they don't have any vision. They're just doing the same old thing by rote almost. They were so drab, and they were what I'm not saying, like, I'm not trying to be a rebel or something, but I just could go, what are you going, oh, isn't he wonderful? I'm going, why?
Yeah,
They were
it's where
pedestrian,
technical.
totally pedestrian.
Yeah, it's technicality only. And art is not about technicality. True art is not about
No,
technicality.
yeah,
True art is about
learn
creativity.
technique, yeah, learn the technique, break the rules.
Yes.
Picasso, da,
Yeah.
you know.
So what has been your best art experience?
Oh, well, I remember one, um, a dealer that I had shortly after graduating in that kind of way, and in that selling way.
Hmm.
And she had taken a number of my works, and you could rent downstairs. Oh, where was it? The Concourse or something, one of those places downtown. And she had a number of artists, and I had about 8 pieces down there. She sold 6 of them. Like
Hmm.
every few days, she called me, said, "Hey, Diane, guess what? Holy cow." I thought, wow.
Wow.
But then that was a different time. And it is different now,
Hmm.
money wise, all over, and
Hmm.
the whole art thing. And that was pretty, wow. What happened?
Yeah.
know,
Wow.
other artists have said that too.
Hmm.
There's a time period,
Hmm.
but for someone who hadn't been out of art college that long, it was pretty freaking great.
I bet. I mean,
Yeah,
that's every artist's dream.
yeah, for sure.
Great experience. Yeah.
And also, it is nice, and I've had a few experiences, is meeting the people that have bought the work.
Oh.
Yeah, there's one that moved back to Belgium, and I'm on Facebook with them. And so that's really nice. They have a
That
few
is
paintings of mine.
from past conversations that we've had, you and I.
Yeah,
You seem to be deeply impacted by films and inspired by films and foreign films, I would say in particular. Can you explain how or describe why that is?
because it isn't the tried and true trajectory of a lot of films. And I really don't like to use the word um, North American because there's some really great films that have come out of the States and Canada. And yeah,
Mhm.
um, I guess a different outlook on life too.
It's my preference. I love watching French films.
Yeah,
Those are my favorite, and I can understand the language, so I'm not
that, yeah,
stuck
and
with
that's
the
different.
subtitles, which is very
Yeah,
helpful because the subtitles often change what's really happening.
right.
But I do love the Polish films.
Hmm.
So I understand your intrigue and your fascination and your love for the foreign films because they can so simply there's something simple and romantic, and
Right,
there's no glitz and
right.
glamour.
I think
There
that's it. Yeah,
there's no explosion every 2 seconds. Not someone's
right,
not being shot constantly.
right,
There's no there's no external drama. It's mostly internal. There's stories, and they
right,
often span over the period of one day.
right. Yes, which
These
is amazing.
Yeah, the simplicity and the depth of the content and the characters. It's not so busy.
Yeah. There's also the lands, like there's so many that are in, say, Iceland or Norway or Sweden that are absolutely stunning.
Hmm.
And one, I guess it is actually North American because it was Beast of the Southern Wild. Did you ever see that?
No.
Oh, do check it out. It's takes place in New Orleans on the levee, or they call it the bathtub. And that's where it's really risky to live. And I remember seeing it with Larry, and we both loved it. What was amazing is, I mean, there's dire poverty, but they rose above it, and they were happy.
Hmm.
Anyways, it was beautifully filmed, and trying to think of different. Oh, and I used to love French films with, this is really old, Simone Signoret.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Charlotte Rampling.
Oh, everything she does.
Yeah,
She's incredible.
really.
Incredible.
Yeah,
It's art, right? It's not caught in the more Hollywood type.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's strange we have such there's such a difference between the two kinds of looking at life, and that's what it comes down to, really.
Hmm. I don't think there's nothing wrong with either. It's just we're
No,
all different, and what speaks to us is very different. We'd rather watch these what some people think are so boring and so droll, and there's nothing happening. How could you watch this? I mean,
right.
I cannot stand sitting on the sofa and watching these aliens with the
Oh God.
cowboys and then the Terminators coming out. I can't do it. And I try. I do try to venture out of my comfort zone, and I've got about 10 minutes, and I can't do it. I can't do
Yes,
it.
yes,
It's mindless. It numbs my mind, is what I should say.
yes, yes.
I don't want to be numbing my mind. I love what goes on in here.
I know. Although I must say I am a fan of certain horror flicks.
Hmm. Like, what comes
And
to mind is that Swedish one. Where you,
oh, let the right one in.
yeah,
Honestly, I refuse to see it in English. I saw
yeah,
it in Swedish in the theater.
yeah.
And you know, at the end of it, no one got up right away. It was that much respect for the art form.
I did see that film. I want to say there's either a French version or there's a different version of it, which is very good.
Yeah,
I think it's the Americans, right, who came out with the English version.
I refuse to see it.
Again, happens quite often where these beautiful European films
Hmm.
are recreated by North Americans, and I love the film, the European film, and then I try to watch the North American version, and it's it's so different.
I know,
And I think, why redo something without soul?
I know. There's not there's not the poetry. They don't take the time.
Mhm.
Um, that sort of, hey, we better fill this minute in with something more talking, more action, something. There's a few of them. And also, I think what adds to it is the scenery sometimes too. They've
And
also made great comedies.
those films, foreign films, whether they're, because they're not really horror films in the North American
No,
sense
no, they're not.
at all. Hmm.
No, there's,
Hmm.
I wouldn't say lightness to them, but a different take, I guess.
Cerebral, they're more cerebral.
Oh, that word. Oh, yes. Definitely, definitely. Wow.
How important are the titles to your paintings?
They're actually very important. Whether they're very, hey, basic, well, oh, with Johnny and Sid, the new one, Johnny and Sid, I may go with Johnny Rotten and Sid Vicious. My Way is important because then it refers back to his version of my way, but it's also my way of portraying them. So that's important. Thinking back on different paintings that I've done, where the title is really important, and there was a slight twist to it.
What
You
comes
know?
to mind? Lipstick Jungle.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, the Animal Kingdom.
Oh, Animal Kingdom. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I know. Those. Yeah. Wow, you're better than me. I have to go through them.
What was what was the title for? Oh, was it Chick Flick?
Oh, chick flick. Larry loves that painting
Yes. I well,
because he ended it with, yeah.
yeah, and Sue Tupi is the lucky beholder of that painting. And I told her, when she's gone, it's coming back to me.
Chick flick? She
Yes,
bought that? I
I
didn't
bought it for her.
know. Oh, wow. That's so nice.
I wish I was looking at it every day.
Well, you
And
know where she lives.
I do.
Just call it out.
I do. And I don't regret much in life, but
Mhm.
one of them, which is probably the main one, is not buying the Virginia Woolf painting.
I know. I knew you were going to say that. Yeah. Yeah.
And I know the name of the woman. I still have her information. And I remember saying to her, I can't afford this now, but when I can, I'm going to be coming to buy it back from you. And she
Oh,
was a
that's nice.
writer. She was a writer, and it,
Oh, good. Thank goodness.
yes. So for her, and that makes, that's why I thought, okay, I can let it go,
Yeah.
because it's going to someone who it really speaks to, and it's in her office where she writes, and
Uh,
it's beautiful. Yeah, one of
yeah.
my few regrets in life.
Yeah, that was a strange one. The position of Virginia Woolf, like I
Yeah,
really did think of that, and tried to make the background look like she was in Bloomsbury,
yeah.
you know, kind of cluttered space, and yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it. I think about it every other day.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And I really appreciate you sharing because artists don't hear that and they'll get the check and go, yay. But
Hmm. What do you wish to communicate through your work?
it may, uh, maybe too broad, but uh, understanding and appreciation of not just the painting, but where you are. Like, hey, we're here right now. What are you getting out of it? Would be like the Waiting for Godot was a painting. What do you want? I want what Samuel Beckett wanted. Yeah,
You do have a painting called Waiting for Godot.
I know I do. And I wish it was a little different. Maybe I'll do another one.
Do you have a question for me? And that's our last question.
Oh, wow. The toughest one for the last. If you weren't a gallerist, what would you want to do? If you weren't selling paintings and putting, what would you like to do? How would your day start? What would you be doing
If I wasn't a gallerist, I would probably be doing something very similar to what I'm doing now, which is
in
a
the
lot of
community?
community events
Yeah.
um, that are art related to
Mm-hmm.
to expose our community to the arts community and to
Mm-hmm.
mesh those two.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would probably be doing more of these sorts of videos. Yeah, just creating community in every sense, and I would probably be more. I would probably be
Yeah.
painting more.
Yeah.
I would be sewing,
Ah,
creating my own clothing and probably selling it.
ah. Now that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, do you do patterns?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yes. So I always that's a dream of mine to be able to do that. And I would be writing
Writing novel.
writing novels,
Yeah.
screenplays. I would probably get into filmmaking. Um,
Mm, okay. Okay. Could it go that way where you are?
I want to. I'm definitely shifting into that direction. I still love having the gallery, and it's taught me so much. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to walk away from the gallery. That is not my plan at all. I want to be able to take a step back and
Mm-hmm.
hire someone to be in the gallery, so then I can focus more on my own creative ventures
Right. Yeah.
at some
What
point in
about
time.
acting?
I That is something I wanted to do when I was a kid. I
Yeah.
thought I would be an actress and a dancer and a singer, a performer.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Do I want to be an actress now? I don't know. I think
Mm-hmm.
I like being more behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. Where you have more control too,
Yeah,
you know?
more creative control.
Exactly. Right. Because acting is really an interpretive art,
Hmm.
not.
Yeah, I would consider acting if I was directing and writing and producing.
Right. Then
then
you got. Yeah.
then yes, I would consider that.
But not like this might pet peeve. Lena Dunham, Dunham,
Right. Not in that
but
sense.
you
It's
know,
not.
in doing it, but not like her.
Yes. In doing it,
That's
yes, but
what I
not
feel.
like her. I We're two very different personalities.
Yes. You're talented and, well, she's different.
Hmm. I
I am diplomatic.
she's still to be very much admired for giving, she's a young woman who isn't conventionally beautiful. I think she's a great concept.
Concept, I'll go with. An Adam Driver.
Right. I am not, I'm not very in current current shows, current movies, current music. I still much prefer, I just gravitate towards something that to me is more creative, has more soul, like Talking Heads, David
Ah,
Byrne.
yes, yes,
That to me is art. That to me is creative
yeah,
genius
yeah,
in every sense.
sure.
He's taken it visually, through words, through music, all of it,
Hmm.
and constantly
Reinventing.
reinventing himself. Yes, he's
Yeah,
constantly reinventing himself, which is also a talent that creative people have,
yes, yeah.
because you're being creative with your life.
And you have to recreate yourself. I'm who wrote Creep? Creep.
No, oh,
And I
I
totally,
can hear it. I can hear it.
any song, I just go, oh my God, that's unbelievable.
Radiohead.
It was Radiohead. Thank you. I thought so, and I wasn't positive.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, totally genius. I mean, who would write that song? Every time I hear it, I just get shivers.
Hmm. I used to write a lot of songs. I used to write a lot of stories, a lot of poetry. Uh,
And you
I
have saved them,
I saved some. It's interesting. I find them every once in a while and I read it and I think, how did I even make this at that age?
right? Interesting.
Yeah, and I think these are brilliant. And then I realize, oh, they're in my handwriting. They're in my
And
handwriting.
but the thing is that you're not self-conscious then. As you get older, you're self-conscious. Is this in? Does that fit? Will somebody
That's
appreciate it?
right.
Where you're younger, it's hey,
Hmm.
just writing. I think it was Radiohead that had the book, and I had the book. Dead Children Playing. I know it sounds weird, but there are drawings and writings in it, and it's fabulous. It's just a
Hmm.
thin book, but I just was so impressed with that when I bought it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
To respect, to have the respect for the younger mindset, the what they're
right,
creating.
right, yes,
Whereas people dismiss it. Oh, they're 10. What do they know? Or they're 6 years old.
right, yeah,
Cute.
yeah,
It's cute, right?
yeah,
It's he took that and he's respecting it and honoring the
right,
genius. The
yeah,
genius.
yeah. I got that book out again and just looked through it. I mean, it was beautifully put together. You'd probably love it. I know you would. I think where I had that was um, there was a number of artists. Um, well, there was four of us that joined many years ago um, as advocates for a regional gallery in Scarborough. It never really happened, but we had a lot of
Okay.
meetings and different things. Okay, and that was very interesting. Two of us knew each other from art college. The other two we knew from different things. Then later, one of them got involved with WARC, Women's Art Resource Center. It was interesting. That's my go-to word with lots of
Mhm,
other variations. Interesting. But
mhm,
anyway, uh, it was, we had to decide who would get a certain grant or get in or whatever.
mm,
But anyways, this group would look at slides of different artists, and it was all women. It's our resource. And then their statement and they were portraying was absolutely hilarious. I'd come home with these great stories. What was hilarious, maybe you'd have these beautiful, really professionally done watercolors of flowers. And then this horrendous statement about women's rights. It
and a
didn't go.
poppy painting?
Exactly. And it was like, hey, oh, I know what I should say,
Yeah,
but this
yeah,
is what I do. It was
yeah.
amazing. So I love the discrepancies. I mean, oh, that's the other thing I would like to be, and it would be my, sorry, a comedy writer. I would
Maybe,
love to
yeah.
sit in a room with other writers, and there's much fodder out there.
You'd be great.
Oh, you would be too.
No, I don't think I'm funny. I'm not a funny person. I love humor,
Yeah.
and I love to laugh, and I love dry, ironic humor. I don't think I'm a witty or funny person myself to come up with.
Okay. I mean, this is the part where I have to say, oh, yes, but you are. No, I mean, you're being honest with how you feel about yourself. And if you don't feel that way, then you aren't.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider myself a funny person, haha, where I would say something and someone would think, oh, she's funny.
Yeah, right.
And I remember
That's
someone
right.
said, someone told me I was a funny person.
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny. And I think it was Sue. I told Sue and I said, oh, so and so thinks I'm funny. She's like, oh, that's funny. I said, yeah, I
Great
know. I know. Me being funny, it's funny.
Hey, we need appreciators. And
Yeah.
I have to say, I mean, I was married to my first husband a long time, and Larry and I are coming on about 18 years. Someone said at one time, so what is it? What do you find attractive? And I said, sense of humor, good dancer. And I've said it before, but the sense of humor for sure. Good dancer means he's not afraid of people watching him and to get up and dance. And I think that's really important. And extremely funny story, and I maybe told you before, at one of my grandsons, it was maybe his third birthday, and it was in the backyard, and there was a lot of people, and then she, oh yeah, oh, okay, everybody come on in, and we're going to open the gifts now. And but two people stayed in the yard, finishing their beer and clicking with my ex and Larry. And the one said to the other, I forget who said it, hey, you don't kind of follow the rules, do you? Neither do you. And it's a really fond memory.
Two different worlds in a way, your
Yeah.
past and your present.
And having something totally in common that
Yeah,
I love.
and I love those moments. I absolutely love those moments where your multiple facets of your life come together,
Right. Yes.
and it's one moment because it's not all the time, right? And it's
No,
a
no,
moment, and there's something so beautiful about that,
really. Totally. Yeah.
and to soak it in and to stop and think, oh, this is a moment.
Yeah. And I think it only happens to real people like you and me.
Hmm. I think so. Where we're actually, oh, we can stop and pay attention
Yes. Yeah.
and notice that and
Yeah.
soak it in and remember it forever
Yeah. So,
fondly.
yeah. So,
Hmm.
well, this has been fun. Now I want to watch Ozark. No.
I started watching, is it The Young Pope or The New Pope?
Oh, yeah. How is it?
Not sure.
Hmm.
I keep waiting. I love John Malkovich. Now
Yeah,
he is my man.
he is hilarious.
He is my man. I would marry that guy in a heartbeat.
You remember the one he was in about the paintings that he did?
Yes.
One kind of painting. Forget the name of it, but
Art School Confidential.
that's it. Thank you.
Yes.
Love that.
That was one of my first exposures to art.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, oh, there are people out there who are authentically strange.
Right. Yes.
And that's great, right?
Yeah.
There's
And
something
he
very
does.
sexy about that.
Yes. Yes, there is.
Yeah.
My name is Adam Driver. and a good marriage. I loved it. A good marriage.
Yeah, I think a marriage story. Marriage
A
story.
marriage story with Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a nice graduation
Okay. Yeah.
from Hollywood, normal
Yeah.
Hollywood films. Thank you, Diane,
Yeah.
for spending the time sharing your very fascinating world with us. Take care.
Thank you very much, Sarah. You were great.
So
Ciao.
are you.